Okay. We're pleased to be joined by Jeff Gordon here in the Martinsville Speedway. Jeff drives the number 24 Exalta Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. 8 times he's visited Victory Lane here at Martinsville Speedway. And Jeff, coming back here for 2 more times here and then I guess again in October. Just your thoughts about this racetrack, the success you've had, and knowing that you got a couple more opportunities at it.
Yeah, no, I'm excited about those opportunities. It's been a fantastic racetrack for me throughout my career. Martinsville is probably the reason why, when we made that announcement in January, why we left that little bit of window and door open, because this is probably the first track that comes to mind for me if I ever ran another race. Not that I have plans to, but I think I would do it at Martinsville. Truck, Cup, I don't know, maybe a late model, I don't know. I love this track. The least amount of things change here at Martinsville that change at any other track that we go to. Aerodynamics don't make as big of a difference. Tires don't change much here. The speeds, gradually maybe change here, but when you look at every other track on the circuit, and especially the bigger tracks, when aerodynamics start to make a huge difference, then that changes how you have to drive the car and set up the car, and the knowledge you have to have of all the data and technology that's going on with the cars. This one, you don't have to worry about that near as much. Of course, this week in the lack of power, it's going to change things a good bit, how we're going to drive this track. But that's, those are the reasons why I love this track so much, and always love coming back here, and really looking forward to these final 2 in this season.
Questions for Jeff Gordon? Raise your hand and we'll get you. Let's go with Nate, Kenny, and my man from MRN. Get you too, Bob. Go ahead. Nate, raise your hand. Who's got the wireless mics? Cynthia?
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. Jeff, NASCAR has taken tires after the last 2 races, and this week they said that they sent those tires to a third party. I know that you've had some familiarity with that. That happened with your team like 17 years ago when you were winning 13 races in 1998. Wondering, what's that like to have that kind of scrutiny, I guess, if you're one of those teams whose tires are getting taken, and do you think there's anything going on currently with the tires?
Yeah, I just found out about this morning when I got here. I didn't know that this was going to the level that it's gone to. I think a lot of us have speculated for years about different ways to bleed air from tires. I've been saying, and probably in here for years, that we need bleeder valves. We just do. I came from sprint cars where they're built into the wheel. You set them. Those might not be advanced enough for what we need in a Cup car and a Cup tire, but it just makes sense. I mean, it's crazy what we do with air pressures, and these big heavy cars build air pressures up so much that we're always trying to start them real low, which causes issues for NASCAR or for Goodyear and the teams, and then they just increase. So it makes sense to me that we should have bleeder valves. But because we don't, it's pushing the teams to do things. I know you threw that out in 1998. I can tell you that we weren't ever doing anything like that in 1998. I know that maybe people were speculating what we were doing. Or if Ray was doing it, he never told me. So, after all these years, I think I would have known about that. But I've heard about a lot of things, with valve caps and poking holes in tires for years, but I've never seen it done. I've never had proof that it was done. So it's very interesting to me that NASCAR is investigating this further, and I look forward to seeing what comes out of it. But to me, if they find a way to stop that, if it's really going on, I get excited about our chances, because I know that we're not doing it, so it will close the gap for us to whoever may be doing it. I do, yeah. I do think they are. When it gets to this level, when you're hearing about it, I'm hearing about it, and they're talking about things in meetings with crew chiefs, that tells me it's definitely being done. It's just not clear on how it's being done. That's what I would say.
I think we got Kenny. We're going to go to Bob and then my man here from MRN. Go ahead, Kenny.
Kenny Bruce, NASCAR.com. Jeff, 1993, you were part of the rookie class. What do you remember about rookie meetings, what you guys were told in those meetings, and the impact or how helpful they were?
I couldn't remember one. Honestly, I don't remember one. I mean, I know Bobby Labonte and Kenny Wallace. Okay, yeah. I don't remember anything about. I mean, me and Bobby and Kenny became friends in the Busch Grand National Series, and we would hang out. And I mean, we really. I mean, Kenny Wallace walked up in my truck last week, and we had so much fun reminiscing, talking about things, and he was really, really kind to me and some of the words that things that he was saying. But I just always think of Kenny as Kenny, the guy that I came into the sport racing against, and he was kicking my butt when I first came into it, and then as we made our transitions into Cup, things worked out better for me. But other than hanging out with those guys and racing against those guys, I don't remember the rookie meetings at all. Sorry.
Let's go to Bob Pockris, and then we'll go to my man here, MRN.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. Do you guys look at what Harvick is doing, and do you sit there and kind of wonder what do they have in the car that we don't know, or what is he doing that we're not?
Absolutely. I mean, we're sort of partners with them, and sharing the technology and the data, and it inspires us to push harder. We know. Their cars and their engines. We know a lot, if not everything, about their setups, and and they know about ours as well. And so, when you're getting beat out there on the track, then it pushes you to try to find more. You start looking at photographs and what little small details are being done, and we do that with our teammates. And we do that, with Stuart Haas, because we have that information, and because they're the best team out there right now. They're the fastest cars, and we're always trying to make our own things better, but we're also always trying to look around and make sure that we're not missing something.
Okay, let's go to my man MRN, and all the way in the back, Kelly Crandall had a question. Let's go ahead.
Hey Jeff, Tyler Burnett, MRN. Don't mean to look past Martinsville, but big off-season plans for the Gordon, or off-weekend plans for the Gordon family after Martinsville?
Yeah, we always look forward to Easter, and this year we're going to, stay fairly close to home. We were invited to go up to the White House and do that Easter egg roll that they do. So we're going to go up there. We're going to do some touring of D.C., which is something I've never done, and take the kids and go to the Smithsonian and go around the city and enjoy D.C. like we never had before. I think, especially Ella, she's just getting to that age where she's really interested in these things. Of course, Leo's very interested in the Air and Space Museum and the Natural History Museum. So hopefully we get a chance to see all those things. But, yeah, thank you.
All the way in the back, raise your hand, Kelly. You have a mic?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Unluckily for you. Jeff, Kelly Crandall from PopularSpeed.com. The consensus always is that after Daytona, the real season starts. Curious if you like the stretch this year, because we went through a couple of mile and a half, mile, 2 miles, which makes up the majority of the schedule. Did you like that stretch? And do you think it gives a clearer indication maybe from years past of who the contenders are going to be this year?
Yeah, I do like the stretch. It didn't fare well for us. We and that's our own fault, not the schedules. We just had some things that didn't go well for us, but and we need to perform at a higher level. But I like the tracks that we went to. I've always said that I feel like Daytona, as much it goes into Daytona and as big of a race as Daytona is, and all that should be done, I think to really, as big as that race is, to kick off the sport, I think we should always take a week off after Daytona to truly give that champion of that race, the ability to, shine and go do all the shows and the things and the promotion of winning that race that goes into it, and then take a weekend off for everybody to reset and then go hard for the next several weeks. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but that's always been what I feel. But other than that, I love the racetracks that we're going to. Kerry, I know, would second me in that.
Absolutely. I'm all about Jeff Gordon. Let's go to this gentleman right here. Got me off track here, Jeff. Go ahead, sir. Right here.
Right here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Charles Work, Star News. Jeff, can you tell me your favorite spot in Martinsville that you like to come to if you're away from the track, something you really like about our town?
Let's see. We were up here testing last year. That was the first time in years that I came here and actually left the racetrack. What's the place? The famous place there with the little windmill thing or whatever? What? Dutch Inn. Oh yeah, man. I went to the Dutch Inn. I'm not saying that's my favorite place in Martinsville, but I went there. It was very interesting. It hasn't changed since I first started racing in NASCAR. I mean, it's a cool, quaint little town, and when we get time, we go and go to some restaurants and things. But I'll be honest, ever since they put that bus lot in back there, I love. My favorite thing is I drive to Martinsville, and we don't drive to tracks very often, and so I really enjoy. I have dinner with my family, and then I say goodbye, and I drive to Martinsville and get here and enjoy the weekend, and and stay in the bus and work on trying to get a grandfather clock. I didn't eat the old hot dog, so I'm actually looking forward to the new hot dog.
Okay. Let's go back to Kenny. Kenny's got one, and Mike Embry, and then maybe we'll take one more.
Jeff, last week, the incident with David Reagan.
Yep.
Can you kind of talk through what was going through your mind at that time and why it came to
Sure.
what happened?
Yeah, we were moving forward at that time, both me and Jimmy. We caught David. He was definitely struggling and trying to kind of hang on until the pit stop where they could make some adjustments, and he was letting off real early in the corner, and so Jimmy got by him. I didn't clear him when Jimmy got by him, so about the next lap I dove inside of him when he let off early, and I could have slid up in front of him, but I was like, I'm not going to do a slide job on the guy this early in the race, and we'll see if he wants to race me hard or not. And so he did. He raced me hard on the outside. The 2 laps later, I got inside of him again, and this time I crowded him a little bit more. He got all over my door, got me loose, and so I basically said at that point, I'm going to have to do it the hard way because it was real difficult to pass. If a guy was in your lane, in the high lane, it was very difficult to pass. And so, I know on the radio I said I'm gonna have to use the bumper, and I would have if I could have gotten to him and tapped him a little bit, but I didn't have to. I just got up to him. He was already pretty loose, and I just took the air off of him to just get him to lift, but he didn't lift. He just stayed in the gas and he spun out. So I went up to him afterwards, and I was like, David, in my opinion, you didn't have to do it that way. I didn't want to have to do it that way. You were struggling. I was moving forward. I made 3 attempts on you, and you didn't want to give an inch. So, I don't expect somebody to just let me go by them. But when you're that much faster than somebody, you have to make a choice. How do I want to race at this point, at this stage in the race? Is it worth it to me? And in my opinion, on a track that was that difficult to pass on, then I'm just going to get up behind him. I never touched him, but I definitely took the air off of him.
If his car is not that loose, would it have done the same thing?
I don't know. I'm not really sure. I just to me, I had to do whatever I could to try to get him to understand I'm way faster than you. And I tried to do it the nice way, and you didn't leave me too many options other than to do it the not so nice way.
Okay, let's go to Mike Hembry here on the front row, and then we're going to end with young lady right here.
Mike Hembry, USA Today. What's reasonable to expect from Chase this weekend, and is this the track you would pick to be your first one?
This is a tough racetrack, especially without testing. This is a tough racetrack. So, I kind of love it because he's being challenged, in a big way, and I think he's very capable of living up to that. These conditions, these weather conditions, and potential lack of practice is going to make it very, very difficult on him. But with a Hendrick car, with his talents, our setups, I have all the faith in the world under normal circumstances that he would shine this weekend. But it's certainly going to be a steep learning curve.
Take a young lady right here, and we'll end on the front row. Claire B. Lang.
Karen Loftus with WDBJ7. Just following up on that question about Chase, given your success here at this track, what pointers have you maybe given him based on your experiences here?
Yeah, we talked this week at length on the phone, and I told him the things that I like to work on, as well as some of the challenges that we're faced. It's kind of all new this week, and because of the lack of power, that's really going to change a lot of things for all of us. So I would think that most things that we've learned over the years will apply, but it's that we don't know just how deep we're going to be driving in the corners. What is that going to do to our braking? How early we're going to be getting into the throttle, and whether in the past loose off has been a big issue here, trying to manage that power on the exit. With this lack of power, I have a feeling that's not going to be near as big of a deal. We're all going to be kind of learning as we go here. So all I could give him was information of what we had and what we dealt with in the past. But we definitely talked. I love the fact that he called me and reached out to me, and I'm happy to give him any information I possibly can, and even if that means he's driving by me on the last lap. That's just the way I've always done it for drivers that I respect, that have the talent of a guy like that who also happens to become the Hendrick Motorsports.
Claire, final question right there on the front, Jeff.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Just a quick follow-up. You were talking about taking your kids to Washington, and I was thinking about being a little one and going to family vacations, which is what we did. You take the kids so they can see Washington. And I wondered, you saw the country as a racer, but starting so young, if you got to do a lot of that stuff, and if you're doing a lot of this stuff for the first time with your kids now, things that you didn't get to do that others might have done.
You don't get me wrong, Claire. Things worked out pretty good. I'm always talking to friends of mine that I grew up with or went to high school with, and they're like, "Man, all you ever did was race. You never did anything else." And I was like, "Yeah, I think it worked out okay." They're like, "Yeah, I wish I would have done that." So, yeah, I missed out on some things, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. But I am getting to relive that through them, and Ingrid's really great about that. She wants to see them get these experiences, and when it works out where all of us can have it, together, then we do, whether it be, in the U.S. or outside the U.S. and they certainly we're always saying if we could come back, we'd like to come back as our kids, because they get to experience some pretty amazing things and things that maybe we dreamed about doing when we were younger, and they get that opportunity. So it's and there's so many great things to see in the U.S. that we don't always take the advantage of. Ingrid being from Belgium, a lot of times we'll think of that outside the U.S. So I think it's great that we're staying close to home and doing something that none of us have ever done, that in a place that has incredible history and culture and a lot to see. Yeah. Not bad. Thank you, Claire.
Jeff, thank you so much,
Thank you.
and we always appreciate your time, your professionalism, and good luck this weekend.